You know exactly where you are right now. You've been staring at the ceiling or your phone screen for 3 hours. The essay is due tomorrow. The exam is in 2 days. You physically need to move. You need to get up, walk to the desk, and open the book. But you can't. It feels like there's a 500-pound invisible weight pinned to your chest. You're scrolling through TikToks you don't even like, numb, while this pit of guilt expands in your stomach. It's the doom loop. Most people think this is laziness. They tell you, just be disciplined, bro. They tell you to watch a motivational compilation with Rocky music. That is garbage advice. You aren't lazy. If your house was on fire, you'd move instantly. You don't have a motivation problem. You have a biological ignition problem. You are stuck behind the wall of awful. Today, we aren't going to talk about willpower. Willpower is a finite resource, and yours is empty. Instead, I'm going to hand you a psychological override switch. It takes exactly 10 seconds. It bypasses your feelings and hacks your biology. This is how you go from a paralyzed NPC to the main character. Let's look at the physics. A space shuttle uses about 90% of its fuel in the first 2 minutes of flight. It takes an insane amount of chemical violence just to break gravity. Once it's in orbit, it can cruise at 17,000 miles per hour on fumes. Your brain works the exact same way. This is the concept of activation energy. Right now, you are fighting a civil war inside your skull. On one side, you have the prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO of your brain. It handles long-term planning, discipline, and complex math. It knows you need to study to pass. On the other side, you have the basal ganglia and the limbic system. This is the lizard brain. It cares about safety, comfort, and conserving calories. It wants dopamine now, not an A+ in 3 months. Here is the wild part, and this is backed by fMRI studies. When you think about doing a hard task you hate, the pain centers in your brain. The anterior insula light up. Your brain literally registers the anticipation of studying as physical pain. So, your limbic system slams the emergency brakes. It triggers limbic friction. It hijacks your body to protect you from that pain. That's why you pick up your phone. The phone is the morphine. It numbs the pain of the task you're avoiding. But here is the glitch in the matrix. The pain is not in the doing of the task. The pain is in the starting. The second you actually engage with the work, the anterior insula calms down. The pain vanishes. The rocket has cleared gravity. So, our only job, the only thing we care about right now, is surviving those first few seconds of G-force. We need a launch sequence that is so fast, your lizard brain doesn't have time to hit the panic button. To fix this, we have to look back about 400 years to the samurai. In martial arts, there is a state known as mushin, or no mind. When a master archer releases an arrow, they aren't thinking about the target. They aren't thinking, I hope I don't miss, or I'm a bad archer if I fail. Thought creates hesitation. Hesitation is death. They enter a state where the action happens automatically. It is distinct from their ego. Your problem is that you treat studying as a moral event. You sit there thinking, I need to study for 4 hours, or I'm a failure. That is massive pressure. That creates massive friction. We are going to switch tactics. We are going to treat studying as a mechanical process. We are going to use a modern adaptation of Mushin I call the Ronin launch. This is a protocol, a system. It separates the decision from the action. We are going to gamify the start so that your brain thinks it's playing a QuickTime event, not writing a thesis. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a command. Here is the code. This is the 10-second rule. The deal you make with yourself is simple. You don't have to study. You don't have to write a single word. You just have to complete the countdown. Here is the exact sequence. Pause the video and memorize this. Seconds 10 to 5. The environment reset. Your brain is overloaded with visual noise. Clutter is cognitive load. For the first 5 seconds, you go beast mode on your environment. Clear the desk. Close the tabs. Phone goes in another room, or at least out of arm's reach. You are scrubbing the launchpad. If the phone is near you, your dopamine receptors are still tethered to it. Sever the connection. Seconds 4 to 2. The physical anchor. You sit. You put your hands flat on the table. You take one deep, diaphragmatic breath. This is a somatic trigger. You are signaling to your physiology that the state has changed. You are moving from passive consumer to active creator. Most people skip this. They try to study while half laying in bed with Netflix on in the background. That's amateur hour. An operator assumes the position. Second one, the micro entry. This is the most critical part. The rule is, you are not allowed to study. You are only allowed to perform the micro entry. Open the textbook to page 42. Open a blank Google Doc. Read the very first sentence of the prompt. That's it. Think of it like a video game. You know those press X to open door prompts? You don't have to build the door. You don't have to fight the boss inside yet. You just have to press X. By making the task stupidly small, you slide right under the radar of the amygdala. The fear center doesn't react because, well, how scary is opening a book? It's not. Second 0. The choice. Here is the twist. Once you have completed the 10-second ritual, phone away, ass in chair, book open, you are allowed to quit. If you really want to stand up and walk away, you have my permission. But here is the raw truth. You won't. You won't quit because of something called the Zeigarnik effect. In psychology, the Zeigarnik effect states that the human brain hates open loops. We remember uncompleted tasks better than completed ones. It's a psychological itch. Once you open that doc, once you read that first sentence, the loop is open. Your brain now wants to close it. The friction flips. Suddenly, it feels harder to walk away than to just write the first sentence. You have tricked your biology. You bypass the activation energy spike. You are now in motion. And as Newton's first law states, an object in motion stays in motion. The hardest part wasn't the 3 hours of calculus. The hardest part was the 10 seconds of starting. You've crossed the threshold. Now, you're in predator mode. Listen to me closely. The difference between the elite and the average isn't talent. It isn't IQ. It's the ability to shorten the time between idea and action. Average people wait until they feel like it. They are slaves to their emotional state. You are not average. You don't negotiate with your weakness. You are an operator. You create the feeling by taking the action. Stop identifying as a procrastinator. That is a story you tell yourself to stay comfortable. Burn that story. Here is your mission. Try the Ronin launch today, just once. Give me 10 seconds of total commitment. If you are ready to stop drifting and start attacking your goals, I want to see who is really about it. Drop a sword emoji in the comments right now. I check every single one. Let me know you're in the fight. Now, close this video. Count to 10. Go work.